Today I'm going to talk about an iconic chord from the end of the main title of Star Wars. Let's take a look.
Keith Horn's Chord of the Week.
So we all know the music of Star Wars really well. Most of us have grown up with it. It's been in the ether for about 45 years now, since the late 70s. And the opening title music it's one of the most ubiquitous pieces of music that we have in our lives. And I remember when I was a kid and I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater. It was 1983, I think. And I was so taken by this music. It was so exciting to be in a theater full of people that had been waiting for so long to see this. And it was so exciting. And then as I got older and I started listening to John Williams closer and deeper, I started hearing chords like this. And I remember thinking, what is that? What is he doing? And it turns out that it's this: D flat major, open voicing, and C major, open voicing at the same time. It's pure bitonality. And by pure, I mean it's a complete triad and another complete triad and nothing else. You know, you'll hear in the violins here going, just arpeggiating the higher voicing. And then you have the cellos at the bottom arpeggiating in a similar fashion. Now, one could say, and because I am one, I will say that this chord could easily represent kind of the dual nature of the Force, the dark and the light, the yin and the yang of the Force in the galaxy, right? I mean, so much of the mythology of Star Wars comes from like ancient Eastern philosophical traditions where light and dark are in balance, the yin and yang of things. So maybe this is light and maybe this is dark. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it, though. Am I overthinking it?
Am I overthinking this?
You're not underthinking it.
Now, right after this D flat and C, the C remains intact, and the left hand of the lower voices move to A major, right? We have a complete A major triad here, and we still have the C major triad on top. Still bitonal, but now they're not a half step apart from each other, or a major seventh apart. Now they're a minor third apart. Right? And notice this.
I'm just saying.
So we went from here, C over D flat, to C over A, and then finally he goes C over E augmented. Right? The C stays the same the whole time. And the thing about this last chord is you'll see that both chords have two common tones, E, C, and then again here at the top. Now the thing about this augmented tonality that he ends with, this is the chord that he uses to transition out of the main title and into the body of the film. You know, we always see the yellow crawl of text saying this is where we are in the story. We pan down, and then we transition into the opening of the exposition of the first act of every movie. And it's interesting that he uses this augmented triad because the nature of an augmented triad, because of its symmetry, it's just stacked major thirds, is the sound of it is neutral. So tonally speaking, with an augmented triad, you can go anywhere you want. So here are some examples of what he does. Here's what he does with this transition moving out of the main title into the body of the film in Empire Strikes Back. Right here we have this E augmented, and he gives us F minor to E. Right, and it totally works coming out of this tonality here. Here's what he does in Return of the Jedi. And what he does here is he comes out of this E augmented tonality and he goes right into augmented harmony. Right? Just whole tone. That totally works. Here's what he does in Phantom Menace. And what he does here is he comes out of this E augmented tonality again, and I have no idea what he goes into because that spaceship is just too loud to understand what's happening.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
So let's take this first chord, put it through some exercises. First, let's condense this chord, D flat major and C major, and move that through the circle of fifths, like this. Next, let's take that same condensed voicing of C over D flat and move it through the circle of fifths with voice leading. So the left hand will do this. The right hand will do this. All right, let's try that. And finally, let's take the open voice. And I'll move this down an octave. So now we have our C in open voicing and our D flat in open voicing. And let's just arpeggiate it like this. So that's a few things you can do with this voicing. I would recommend doing the same thing also with C and A major, which is the second chord in this sequence, but I think focusing on just the one is just a treasure trove of things you could think of, you could play around with, and just really getting used to the sound of bitonality by practicing it. And that's the goal of this kind of practicing, is not to have just an intellectual understanding of what's on paper and to know what it is, but to actually incorporate it into your musicianship. By doing these exercises, by practicing over and over and over until it's second nature. You'll train your ear to hear it, you'll train your hands to play it, and you'll train yourself as a composer, arranger, musician to incorporate it into your writing, into your playing, whatever you're doing. But the key is to do repetitions, do the reps, do the work, put in the time, practice these things, because it's really rewarding. So thanks for watching. Happy practicing, and may the force be with you.
Yeah. Who this? This beat. Yo, who this? Yo, who this? Who this?